Hi, I'm Kerry Ellis and you're watching Live in Hive.
Well, it doesn't get any better than Kerry Ellis opening the show, does it? Yes, Kerry Ellis is our guest a little bit later on in Live in the Hive. It's Sunday, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Michelle Eagleton and we have got a cracker of a show for you. So stay with me for the next half an hour because we've got all the latest in theatre news and interviews and exclusives across Greater Manchester. So what else have we got on the show? Well, of course, you've just seen Kerry, and joining Kerry, we have got her co-star Denis Lawson. They are currently getting ready to star in the Cole Porter musical Anything Goes. It's going out on tour as of April, and it gets to us in June, which is very, very exciting. And if that wasn't enough, we have also got a wonderful chat with Jake Dunn, who is making his stage debut in Kes, and that is on at the Bolton Octagon. We've got our regulars, of course. You couldn't be without things like Greater Manchester Theatre News, and we're going to be telling you all the announcements that have been made in our city this week. And at the end of the show, we have got a performance you won't want to miss. Kerry Ellis is going to be playing us out of the show with the title track from Anything Goes, and it is absolutely magical. Yes, I am a huge fan of Kerry Ellis. You'll obviously be aware of Kerry. She was the first ever Elphaba in Wicked, the UK Elphaba. She's gone on to play with Brian May. She's been in We Will Rock You. Wow. I got the chance to catch up with her earlier this week, and not just with her, but with Denis Lawson, who has won an Olivier Award. He's been in Star Wars. He's been in Bleak House. Have we got more than half an hour? I don't think so. But joining them in this fantastic production, which, as I say, is about to go on tour, is a wonderful Bonnie Langford legend and Simon Callow for Weddings at a Funeral and numerous other films. So what did I ask them first? Well, with a list like that, I had to say, what is it like to have you all together? I have got to say that when I saw the cast announcement for Anything Goes, I was gobsmacked because you have got multi-award winners up there, musical theatre royalty, stars of TV and film. What is it like being all together in this show, guys?
It's a nightmare. I can't tell you.
Hang on a minute.
This is life. No, it's just brilliant. It's fantastic. We have a great atmosphere in rehearsals. We're working very hard, obviously. But it's just the company's, is it 25 or so? I can't remember. It's a big company anyway.
It's big.
But everybody's terrific. We're having a very good time with it.
Now, is this the first time that all four of you have worked together? So you, Denis, Kerry, Bonnie and Simon?
No, Simon, Callow and I have worked together a few times.
Yeah.
In fact, on stage and on television. Yeah. We've known each other for a long time. We're old friends. So it's lovely to have him along. He's great. He's very
Because I was going to say, this must be the best dinner party when you go out on tour ever. Who's going to be?
Oh, yeah. I think so, don't you?
I think it's going to be. Yeah. I mean, we've already been having a really nice time just being together on these days where we go and talk to lots of lovely people like yourself.
Yeah.
And to get to know each other on those trips has been really lovely, because obviously in rehearsals we're working hard, we're doing script and we're doing songs and there's a lot of information coming our way. So to actually have these days where we get to kind of sneak out for the day and have lunch and talk to lots of lovely people has been really nice. And it just makes gives us a taster of what the tour and what the show at the Barbican's going to be like.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Who's got the best showbiz stories, Kerry?
The best show. Well,
you've got a fair few. I mean, it took me a couple of weeks to kind of ask about Star Wars. It was kind of like the elephant.
You only
in the
came out
room.
with it the other day.
So but he's already given me loads of gems of stories and wonderful people that he's worked with, and it's amazing. I love that kind of thing. I understand who I'm working opposite, and when Denis would just throw in a little clanger of a story about when he's working with such and such, for me it's magical, and it just makes it wonderful.
Yeah.
And now
Good.
you're working together on stage on this
Yes.
tour.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a bit about Reno. I think Anything Goes is such a classic Cole Porter musical, but tell us a little bit about your character if nobody has seen it before.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's quite ballsy. She's a real strong woman on the surface. She's a nightclub singer. She's a very known around town woman. And she knows everybody. You know, she runs this club that she entertains people, and then they all end up on this ship, and she ends up with lots of people that she knows or that she's met throughout the years, and she gets to perform her act. She gets to sing all these amazing songs and entertain all these people. But what I love about her is that this big bravado, this big front that she has, there is a vulnerability underneath, and she is a real person, and she is looking for love, and she does find that on board. I won't give the spoilers out, but she does, she finds that, and it's nice to watch a big character like that, a strong woman, go through that journey and show those different sides to her. But the show itself has so much to it, that it's very funny.
Yes.
Which I don't think people expect.
I've got to say, your character Moonface, Denis.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's just hilarious. I couldn't. I couldn't say no to it when it came my way. Moonface Martin, who's on the run from we don't know what, probably not very much, in New York on this ocean liner to London, and disguised as a priest. And it really, he's just hilarious. I find him. It's just a gift for me to play. I love it. It's very much to do with the roots of why I perform and became an actor in the first place.
I heard that you're a massive fan of some of my favourites, Gene Kelly,
yeah, exactly.
Donald O'Connor.
That's right.
Are we going to see a little bit of that portrayed in Moonface?
There's bits and bobs of those people. I threw in a bit of Danny Kaye the other day. I was very aware of doing that. Yeah, right in there, right in there.
And the tap dancing from this one, I mean.
Yeah.
I'll tell a
little story. Tell them.
I'll tell a little story. It's connection. It's a Star Wars connection. Quite strange. My first West End musical was called Pal Joey, and I played Pal Joey in it. And it was a big dancer's role, so I learned to tap for that. And the person who originated the role was Gene Kelly in 1941 in New York, and it took him to Hollywood. So I was doing it, and because of my Star Wars connections, I knew the guys who did the Muppet Show. And so Gene Kelly was in London recording the Muppet Show. So on their instigation, one Sunday, I went up to watch the recording of the Muppet Show. And this rather laconic American Richard came over to me and said, nobody's supposed to disturb Mr. Kelly, but come with me. So I went and met Gene Kelly and his wife, and who he was absolutely lovely, really lovely. So it was quite extraordinary to meet him. I also would say that during the run of that production, Jimmy Cagney and Pat O'Brien came to see the show, and I met them. So that was just mind-blowing. And there's bits of Jimmy Cagney in this, that's for sure.
I don't know how you top that. That's incredible story, Denis. Amazing.
Yeah.
So we know that you can tap dance then, and you do have a bulk of the tap dancing yourself, Kerry. I mean, the number of the namesake, Anything Goes.
Yeah.
Did that come easy? Because I don't know. Have you tap danced before on stage?
Not in front of anyone. So I trained at a dance college over 20 years ago, 95, and I haven't put my tap shoes on since then. So, I mean, I grew up kind of doing it, so it did come back to me. But we've spoke about it earlier.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's like riding a bike. If you haven't got on your bike for 20 years, it's going to take a little while, but it has come back, and
certainly has.
It's getting there. Wow. It's getting there, but it's a lot of fun to do, and the Kathleen Marshall's choreography is wonderful, and it's accessible to everybody. And I remember seeing the show last summer and just being blown away by those numbers, where everyone's on stage, the whole company are on stage, all together, all celebrating that music, and it's wonderful. Yeah. It's great to be a part of.
Yeah.
Once you've learned a time step, you never forget a time step.
You never forget it.
Well done.
I
You're right.
And I've got to say, the last thing I'm going to ask really is about, you're on tour at the moment. Well, you're going to be on tour, should I say. Are there any home comforts that you take with you while you're on tour? Because some people take pillows, some people take pictures. Denis, do you take anything when you go out?
I take a freezer.
You don't. You don't.
I'm taking a small chest freezer for my martinis after the show.
Love that.
Now that's what I call.
I would love that to be true.
It is entirely true. I kid you not.
I think my face said it all then. I mean, Denis Lawson and a fridge on tour. Who would credit that? I mean, that is absolutely amazing. But I suppose when you get to the level of Denis Lawson and you ask for a fridge, you get a fridge. And my goodness, I wouldn't mind being one of his friends on that tour and having those martinis. I bet they're absolutely delicious. I could have talked to Denis for absolutely ages, and Kerry. They had some great stories, and together they make such a brilliant partnership. They are going to be amazing on stage. And what a story about Gene Kelly, and Jimmy Cagney. Oh, you heard it here on Live in the Hive. And a little bit later on, you're going to be hearing Kerry Ellis perform. She's going to be performing the title track from Anything Goes, and you'll even get to see a tap dance. So do stay tuned for that. But what else is going on in the world of theatre? I hear you cry. Well, it is time for this. It's Greater Manchester Theatre News. And yes, we've had another week of announcements. I've got to say one word, and it is hallelujah, because the Sister Act casting has been announced. And look at that lineup, another stellar cast coming to Manchester. Jennifer Saunders, I am so excited, a huge fan of Jennifer Saunders. She's going to be hilarious in this musical. It is a great show. I've seen it a number of times. It is a musical version of the movie that we know and loved with Whoopi Goldberg. Look at the cast list though. I've got to say again, this is brilliant. Kiala Settle from, of course, that hit musical Greatest Showman. You've got Leslie Joseph, you've got Clive Rowe, you've got Lizzie B, and a good friend of Live in the Hive. She was on a couple of weeks ago in the musical Waitress, Sandra Marvin, and now she is heading up Sister Act. She is going to be absolutely brilliant as Dolores. So watch out for that one. It is coming in June, from June the 27th to the 9th of July at the Palace Theatre. And great news for our youngsters. Yes, the young talent of the future. What has been announced is the Young Octagon, which is the Octagon's performance company for talented youngsters. They have had great news. They've been selected as one of the participating youth theatre companies that are going to be taking part in this year's Connections Festival from the National Theatre. Now, this is a brilliant thing for young performers, because every year the National Theatre commissions 10 new plays for young people to perform with exciting writers, with theatre makers of tomorrow. And you'll recognise that name of their production, Remote. It's Steph Smith who's written this one. And of course, if you watched the show last week, Steph Smith was the writer behind that thrilling production of Nora A Doll's House. Now, this is one of the UK's largest celebrations of youth theatre, this festival, and it's all about commissioning plays for and about young people. And over 300 youth theatre companies and around 6,000 people from every corner of the UK are going to be producing a Connections play this year. And as I say, Remote is going to be one of those. It's a play about protest, power, and protecting yourself. And if you want to see that, then head down to the Octagon. It is going to be playing there from the 27th to the 28th of April. The Stars of the Future. And what a talented writer to work with. So, over and done with our news for this week. What is coming on the show next? Well, actually, talking about the Bolton Octagon, that's where I went down to about a week or so ago to watch the opening of Kes. Now, we remember Kes, the wonderful book by Barry Hines, Kestrel for a Knave, is currently wowing audiences at the Octagon with a really fresh new adaptation of it. And I got the chance to speak to the star of that show, and it is his debut on stage. It's the wonderful Jake Dunn. Here's what he had to tell me.
In terms of like researching before auditioning, I didn't touch the material. I'd grown up with Kes. It's a story that really stays in your mind long after you've seen it. I remember the first time I saw it, and the last time I saw it was when I was about 16. And so I just focused on the accent, really. I had to kind of nail a South Yorkshire accent, which is quite far from me. So I focused on that for the auditions, and then it just kind of happened, really.
You totally nailed that. Honestly, you've got a great ear for accents when it comes to that. Talking about the director, I mean, he is quite visionary, isn't he? Autry Banerjee, you know, what he did at the Royal Exchange for Hobson's Choice, you know, it's really kind of elevated him to be in this top 25 of directors. What's it been like working with somebody like that?
I mean, he's amazing. Like, he's just the most... And in the best way, the most sensitive director. You know, it's a play that is really, it's a really difficult play. It's a very emotional play. And there's something about, you know, for me, my experience, I've kind of, this is the first time I've ever done this. And I've moved out of London and come to Manchester, and I'm in a play with two other people. And, you know, he really holds a space for you. And, you know, I know that we couldn't do certain moments in that play without the room feeling totally safe and free to get it wrong or be messy or be ugly. And he really holds that space for me, Harry and Nishla, who I work with. He's just, it's always about detail, and always, you know, the rehearsal process was just deepening the work all the time and seeing where we could, you know, try things and devising together. Really, it was a very collaborative process to make this play, because the script is so kind of punchy and fast that, you know, we create kind of a lyrical piece together, which is really exciting to work with someone like that.
It is. It's very lyrical. It's poetic. Of course, it's got the music as well from Nishla that we see throughout it. It is, as I say, quite, you know, a different. It's very stripped back as well. What was it like though for Nishla being the kestrel? You know, and you're not having that physical kestrel, but then having that relationship. Would you say it was better?
I mean, yeah, for me, I can't speak for Nishla, but for me, having Nishla in the rehearsal process has been an amazing, you know, one of the most amazing things about it, because it really, you know, she brings such a dynamic to it. Because Nishla is a singer and not an actor first and foremost, although, I mean, she is absolutely brilliant in it. She brings a totally different energy to Harry and I that really serves the play. And in the play, my Billy doesn't really see Nishla, the singer, very much. So me as the actor, whenever we were doing scenes, I would always just try and look at her to see what she was doing, because there's so much that I haven't seen and don't get to see that when people talk to me afterwards, just always sounds amazing. People really love the relationship Nishla and Harry have together, and the way they work together. It's really exciting. And I'm always really jealous. I always feel left out.
Oh, bless you. What has the reaction been like for people? I mean, I know when I came on Monday, it was absolutely fantastic. You know, the audience loved it, and there was, you know, some laughter in there. Obviously, we all felt kind of the poignancy as well, you know, the tragic side.
I think people have really, really responded to it. I mean, it's a really... As an actor, it is a really scary play to do, because I'm playing Billy Casper in the North, which is literally like petrifying. And there is something about, like, you know, you mentioned like it's my stage debut. So there's a part of me that was like, the fearlessness worked because I was just like, well, no one knows who I am. So if it doesn't work, I'll just go like write a book or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're like, just, and I think the response has been really brilliant. It's really felt, we're still really early into the run, but it feels like people are not just responding to how we honor the story of Kes, which is, you know, so well loved and kind of ingrained in the culture, but also it is a separate tale about grief and trauma and how you deal with something really painful happening to you. And I think I've felt a response from people around how men talk to each other. Do you know what I mean? There is something about that, I think, in this play that's really important. So it's been amazing. It's been very overwhelming. I've never had any of this before. So when it happens, I'm kind of like, thank you. And then I kind of don't know what to say. But it's been really
we'll
sweet.
always welcome you with open arms in the north, you know, and I believe you've been going out and about as well, because you actually went to a bird sanctuary, didn't you? So I mean, you might not get a real kestrel in the show, but you didn't actually held one, didn't you, with the rest of the cast?
Yeah, I did. It was amazing. I think people did think after that we were going to have a real bird in the play, and we had to kind of let people know that.
And then you're like, no, that's not.
It's not, but it was a really. I had two experiences before rehearsals began. I went and met a falconer on my own in East Sussex, who introduced me not to a kestrel but to a goshawk and an eagle and a couple of other birds, because basically I've just become obsessed with birds since we've been doing this play. But when we all went up and met that little kestrel called Cloud, it was a really incredible experience. There's something so truthful that's in the book, in Ken Loach's film, and in the play, that talks about the silence that you feel when you're in the presence of something like that. They have such a strength and a power and an energy that is really, I guess it's because we've been in the rehearsal process for 3 weeks as well, but I was really moved by holding that kestrel, and I really felt privileged to do it. It's such a solitary experience. It's not a shared experience, I don't think. I think your experience with a bird of prey, with a falcon, is your experience alone, and I think that there's something that's really incredible about that. You know, no one else gets it just like you do, which is really sweet.
And that's great when you're coming to play the role of Billy, because you know that's what you want to evoke, and you really, really do. Are you enjoying it then at the Octagon?
Yeah, I am. It's like a crazy kind of experience, because I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can, because I know it'll be over before I know it. But you know, it's amazing working with Harry and Nishla every day, and it feels like we come onto that stage to tell a story, and it feels like we're always being greeted by warm audiences that for the most part, I think, have an understanding of what this is already, and that doesn't feel like an added pressure, which is really interesting. It feels like an audience that wants to enjoy and be part of the play with you, which I think is a really, really good thing about Kes. Is I think that we use the audience as part of the storytelling. You know, they become the classroom, they become witnesses to things that happen in it, and I think I'm having a great time. I'm having a really great time.
Now, you know, I've got to ask you, like, the most important question here.
Right.
Have you had a Bolton pasty yet?
No. What? No one's even told me about this.
It's famous for its pasties in Bolton. So you need to get yourself a pasty, and then you can call yourself an adopted northerner, all right?
Right. Where do I go for this? Where's the Bolton pasty?
Oh, there's quite a few. This is bad, honestly,
isn't it?
all you need to do is, I suppose, on your break from your matinee to your evening performance, all right, nip out into the centre, and you'll definitely find yourself a good old pasty. Have one of those, and then you won't even have to think about putting an accent on. You'll just be transformed. Jake.
It's just there, isn't it? I have one of those. That's my prep. I don't need to warm up. I don't need to think about anything. If I have the pasty, I'm part of the north. Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine if Jake walks into a pasty shop in Bolton and says, Michelle Eagleton recommends I buy a pasty? Just to get into character, you know? I don't think he needs that. Honestly, Jake, you are fantastic in that role of Billy in Kes. And of course, it is running at the Octagon until the 2nd of April. It's a co-production with Theatre by the Lake. So if you do miss it and don't get the chance to get to the Octagon, then you can always see it at Theatre by the Lake from the 6th till the 30th of April. A great guest there. I've had some fantastic guests on the show tonight. The wonderful Kerry Ellis, the fantastic Denis Lawson, and of course we had Jake Dunn just there. But don't worry, we are not fully ending the show yet. Oh, no. There is more to come. But if you do want theatre across the week, you know where you can go. You can always check out the I Love Manchester website for all the latest on community and culture in our fair city. And we also have extra content on our socials. So, get following, get spreading the word. And we are on Instagram and Twitter at Live in the Hive 21. But next week, oh my goodness, guys, we have got another jam-packed show. We're going to be joined by Strictly Come Dancing star Joanne Clifton. She is going to be telling us what it is like to star in the Addams Family musical as Morticia. Oh, she's absolutely wonderful, and I think she is going to be great in that role. And also, I have got some fantastically great women who change the world joining me on Live in the Hive. Oh, very exciting. But talking about a fantastically great woman, I promise you, we will be playing out of the show with Kerry Ellis. So get ready. She's going to be tapping her heart out and singing like an absolute diva. It's the title track of Anything Goes, and it's an absolute cracker. I'll see you next week.
In olden days, a glimpse of stalking was looked on as something shocking, but now God knows anything goes. If driving fast cars you like, if low bars you like, if old hymns you like, if bare limbs you like, if Mae West you like, or me undressed you like, well, nobody will oppose. When every night the set that's smart is intruding in nudist parties and studios, anything goes. Today, and good's bad today, and black's white today, and day's night today, when most guys today that women prize today are just silly gigolos. And though I'm